Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea of Tranquility. Welcome to another episode of In the Prog Seat. It's the end of the year. It's Tuesday night. We've arrived at our best of 2023 episode. So we've got pretty much everybody here tonight, minus one. Everybody else is here. We got Louis Nasser joining us all the way from Mexico.
That's right. That's it. From the city of Orizaba for all the Mexicans.
Nice. Lewis has been sending us pictures of all the cool stuff he's been eating and the great looking hot sauce and all the fabulous looking stuff. Fabulous looking stuff. What do we got? Who else we got here? We got all the way from his normal perch in the pit, Professor of Prog, Mr. Ken Golden. From Scotland, Stephen Reed is up. He's looking festive. What's happening, Stephen? The Cans is here, Chris Canzaneri. Our center square from upstate New York, even more upstate than us, Mr. Eric Porter. We've got Anthony Farrar in the house. I see some yellow. It's a little bit of yellow, not a lot. Here we go. Yellow on the inside. George Lemie is here. And Mr. Nearfest himself, Chad Hutchinson, is in the house. What's happening, gentlemen?
Hi, guys.
You ready to gift wrap up 2023? Move on to the new year? We don't have a choice, right? So everybody's picked out their 5 favorites, with the exception of myself, as I just explained to the guys. Seeing as I'm doing the daily top 31 countdown, I can't very well give you my 5 prog favorites of the year because they're going to be included in the countdown, and I haven't quite gotten to them yet. So I will be giving you 5 favorites that just missed my top 31. But everybody else is going to give you their true top 5. So with all that being said, we'll go in the same order we just introduced everybody. Louis, kickstart us off, I guess, with your number 5 pick today, or however it may lie.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I think my number 5, the ranking is, as usual, it's very difficult. But I want to start off with a record that I really, really loved. It's a band that is not talked about a lot. Some of you guys don't really like them that much, but I really dig them. I think they're really great. And they released a live album on 2023. So for people who are not familiar with them, this would be a great record to actually pick up. It's the band is from Austria. It's called Blank Manuscript. And the album is a live document. I love that record. That's my number 5. I absolutely love it. Love it, love it, love it.
I have not heard that. Cool. Yep. Awesome. Ken.
Oh, we're going to just do one.
Yeah, we'll fly through them all. We'll go again.
Okay.
That means fly, Ken. Not dissertations. Fly.
So my number 5 is from Norway. And it's the latest one from George Joe Saligheit. So 2-man band. And they've got that whatever that's in the water that they're all drinking in Norway. I want to swig from it. It's that sort of 70s retro prog kind of melancholy. These guys just do it really, really well, and they seem to be getting better. It's 2 guys. One of the guys is actually in Chronicles of Father Robin, which I assume, and Tussmore, which I assume is those bands might pop up a little later on. And I think it's great retro prog. I dig it. That's right.
Fabulous album.
Yeah.
Steven.
Okay, my number 5 is, can't see in this light. I've been displaced by the Christmas tree, so I'm in the darkness here. Here we go. This is Prima Materia by Agusa.
Yeah.
That's what I've got in at number 5. Yeah, it took me a little bit of a while to get kind of under the skin of this one. It's a little bit different to what the band have done before, I think. It's a funny album in ways because the musicianship is fantastic, as you'd expect, and the solos are phenomenal, but it's really quite sedate and mellow at the same time. There's kind of a juxtaposition between the way that it's presented and the way that it's played. And once I've kind of clicked with it, I've really, really enjoyed it and come around to thinking it's probably better than the last couple, which I definitely wouldn't have said before I'd kind of spent some time with it. So yes, Agusa is my number 5.
Really good album. It sounds like Agusa, but it's different. And it's mellow, but it's more psych prog as opposed to folk prog, I think. but
Yeah,
still
it's quite a sideways step for them, I think, from what they've done before, but it really suits them.
yeah, I would agree.
Peter's like we were talking about the other day. I think for me, maybe it's just the way it's mixed. I hear it as being more guitar centric. I think the keyboards, in terms of the mix, there's a little less organ, maybe a little more piano or synth.
Yeah, no, yeah.
But it's more guitar. It's just a more guitar forward.
The guitars are forward, but they're not fiery. I don't think.
No.
That kind of can give the impression that it's like they're shredding on it, and they're definitely
absolutely, you're absolutely right.
Still subtle, I would suggest, but yeah, the guitar playing is fantastic.
It's just the balance is just a little different than on the previous albums.
Yeah, I'd say it's almost a little jammy at times too.
Yeah,
yeah, I would agree. Cool, Chris.
Okay. This is my number 5, Through the Hourglass by Mondo Drag. You've already given your thoughts on this one, Pete. I saw it was down pretty low for you, but pretty high for me. This is an album that I was reluctant to listen to because I confused them with another band called Moss Generator. I don't know why, but they started with M and O, and I checked out, and then I checked in, and I really dig this. I'm getting some, like Momentary Lapse of Reason era Pink Floyd vibes from it. Just a good rock and roll album, really, down deep at the bottom. But yeah, this is my number 5.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like that a lot. Good pick. All right, Eric.
All right, I'm with Steven. I'm going with the Goose as well at number 5. I loved the Envard World, whatever. I can't pronounce these names, but I think that was my top 10 for 2021. Same thing. I thought this one, it was a little jammier. This one grew on me. I went back and listened to a bunch of, I actually gave this like a 3.5, I think, on the site, and I think it should be higher. I did go back and listen to this, and I think I initially did that. I compared it to that one, and I think I missed the folkier elements, but now that I'm listening to it on its own, I think I really like what they did on this. I know I like what they did on this. So really good stuff. And they do have a great back catalog too. So, the old stuff is good, but that is my number 5.
Yeah, not a dud in their catalog.
No.
Not at all. Yeah. Cool. Anthony.
My number 5 is going to be kind of controversial, but that's why I'm here. I'm going with Crown Lands. Yes, the epic track is very rush worthy, but I think the rest of the songs are really well done. 2-piece band, phenomenal musicians. I love the lead singer, the drummer. Dreamer, what's my favorite? Dreamer of the Dawn is really good, and Lady of the Lake Citadel, great tunes. It sounds like Rush, but I think it's great. I'm going with Crown Lands, Fearless, my number 5 of 2023.
I dig it.
It's a good choice.
Yeah. George.
All right. My number 5 is District 97, Stay for the Ending. I think it's probably their heaviest. I appreciate that it's heavier. I like the increased presence of bassist Tim Sicer. That guy rocks. Typically strong work from Leslie Hunt on vocals. For me, this is the strongest since Trouble with Machines. The best other than that one. I just think that they kind of bounced back a little bit from a couple of that were a little more straight. This one's a little more fun. So this is my number 5.
Cool. Chad.
All right, I'm really gonna mix it up here. I'm gonna have the same one as Ken. So Yordcio is my number 5. Ken said this is a duo from Oslo. I think I like this one better than the previous one I have. I don't even remember which one it is, to be honest with you, because like Eric said, all these Swedish bands, you can't pronounce any of the song titles or anything, but great organ, acoustic guitar, Swedish vocals, some flute, real varied, got a little Engelgard in there, but yeah, really solid album. I agree with you guys. So Yordcio is my number 5.
Let me guess, is it this one?
Australia?
No, it's the black one on the other hand.
Okay.
Yes, I think so.
Okay, yeah, that's the
Jord or something, was it called?
George Sessions. Yeah, I got the
Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think that was originally the demos. Like the
And
original.
then official studio albums than a bunch of other stuff.
You could, as you listen to their albums, you could kind of hear them just sort of defining what they are. Is, you know, they're just the first album when I got it, it kicked my ass because, you know, they were doing that sound, but it was a touch of amateurishness about it, and they've gotten better and better with each record, and the new one is the best. But they're all good. They're all, you know, Nat Filion, I thought was really good.
Yeah, they're all really good. Yeah. All right, well, my number 5, I'm going to stick in Norway. Lars Fredrik Frøsli, whatever the hell this is called. Fire
Fortellinger.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
Quite good. I mean, I'm a huge Wobbler fan. This ticks all the right buttons. You know, maybe the vocals aren't great, but musically speaking, this has got everything else you want. All those great Wobbler keyboards are here, and you know, Moog, Mellotron, Hammond, some cool guitars and bass, and it's great Norwegian prog done by one of the guys from a great band, in my opinion. So yeah, it's my number 5. Back to Lewis.
Okay, my number 4. It's a Scandinavian hybrid. I believe the band is from Norway, but I know for a fact the drummer is Swedish, because of course Matthias Olsson. But this is my favorite Pixie Ninja album they've done, which is Hypnagogia. I don't know if you guys have heard that. I got it from Ken. It's an amazing fucking record. It's not a trivial listen, but I enjoy that. It's a very, very good instrumental album. There's lots of layers. It's really, and it's very aptly titled too. It does create that sort of weird state between sleep and wakefulness. It's really nice. I like that record a lot. So Pixie Ninja, Hypnagogia.
I think I remember you talking about that when it first came out. Yeah, I need to hear that.
Very good record. Very good record, in my opinion.
All right, Ken.
All right, my number 4. If I could, oh, damn it. Can't get this technology together. Here we go. Number 4 for me, Sienna Root, Revelation.
That's a good one.
And this is another band that I shouldn't say they keep getting better, because all their albums have been good, but they have a relatively new singer, Zubaida Saleh. This is the second album she's been on, and she's the 3rd singer that's been in the band. She had a male singer, and this is the 2nd female singer. I would call it psychedelic, maybe psychedelic blues if you want. Got a bit of a West Coast sound, a little bit of Jefferson Airplane. She's a very, very soulful singer, but she also plays keyboard, so you get organ, you get a variety of instruments in there, sitar. I know, Pete, your favorite. You get the sitar in there, and it just has that vibe. It has that 70s vibe, and there's one track on there, Dusty Roads, I'm calling my song of the year, and it's just a beautiful piece of music. And yeah, this is just one of those albums. When I was coming through, coming up with a list, I kind of popped into my head. I had really actually forgotten about it, and I just put it on. I'm like, man, this is just so right. This is just a beautiful record, and I recommend the band and exploring all their albums. This one in particular really resonates with me.
Great bands, great album. I never know where to put them because their music encompasses like a little of everything.
It's
really.
there's you get prog, it's psych for sure, and like I said, she's got kind of bluesy, little bluesy thing going on. And also, I should mention, if you can, go on YouTube. There's some Pro Shot live videos of them. That's wild, absolutely wild. I mean, really intense stuff.
Yeah, really good band. They haven't released a bad album, and again, Sweden, Norway, it's Scandinavian folks. I don't know what's going on over there. It's just all good stuff.
That's where it's all happening, right?
Yeah, for sure. All right, Stephen.
Okay, so think prog, think Avenged Sevenfold. Okay, yeah, I know, don't be stupid. This is a prog show. I get that, but credit to my learned friend, Mr. Lemie, for suggesting that I might like this, to which I kind of thought, don't be stupid. Okay, bugger me, it's bloody good. It's a bit of a revelation, in actual fact. It is complex, it's technical, it is stylistically all over the place, and in places it's nothing short of bonkers, really. It's probably the album that I've listened to more than any other this year. Now, partly that's because I can't believe that a modern stadium metal band have gone out and done something like this. Do you know? I mean, their core fan base hate it. That kind of tells you it's not what you think it's going to be at all. But partly it's because it's clever and it's catchy, and partly because it's bloody good. I mean, don't get me wrong, Eric will hate the vocals, right? I'm just going to put that out there right now. But I love them because they're expressive, they're in keeping with this bizarre concept that runs through it, and I do mean bizarre. And they too are a bit all over the place. If you want some metal, some prog, some avant-garde, maybe, I don't know, some pop. If you'd like some disco, I don't know, maybe you want some crazy, weird piano vocal shit. It's all on here. All of that's on here. And the other thing that I love about it is that the metal press have absolutely no idea what to do with it. I've seen it get 4.5 stars out of 5, and I've seen it get 1 star out of 5. It completely compounds any expectations, or confounds, should I say, any expectations of what an Avenged Sevenfold album should be. This is a real discovery for me. It's fantastic.
So it's up there with The Elder, huh?
It's phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You just can laugh and go listen. It's not what you think it's going to be.
It certainly isn't.
And how does it compare to other Avenged Sevenfold albums?
It's completely different. I'm not a fan of the band at all. And then to give you an idea, I know Avenged Sevenfold through my eldest daughter. My eldest daughter is a fan. She's been to see them. She listens to, used to listen to the house when she lived here. And they're okay. They're not a bad band. They've never been a bad band. And I messaged her when I listened to this and said, have you heard this album? And she went, Dad, it's garbage. Okay. Genuinely, anyone that I know that was massive on the band at the start are kind of going, what is this shit? What are they doing? And I love that about this, because it is an album where the band have gone, for want of a better term of phrase, fuck it. We want to go make this album. We don't really care what anybody says about it after that. We've made the album. There you go. Like it or don't. I like it a lot.
I'm gonna have to buy it.
I know a lot of people who dig it. So
Maybe it's their reaction to the astonishing.
No, nothing can be as bad as the astonishing.
yeah, that's pretty bad.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, that's pretty bad. All right, Chris, back to you.
Okay. I have to admit there's some recency bias in this list, but I've heard some shit just recently that has blown me away. And this is Magic of Sin by Arabs in Aspic. I had never heard of this band until a few weeks ago. I believe Ken mentioned them.
Yeah.
I decided to check them out. Their latest album, this is my favorite of what they've done. They've changed a little bit each time. I think they're from Norway, of course. I think they sing in Norwegian on one album, not this one. But this almost defies description. It's rooted in the 70s. You've got some organ. It's definitely prog rock, but there's some topical lyrics on here. Not as much as on their other albums. I don't really get political on this one, but it was completely new to me. And I was like, man, I really like this. And I haven't had a chance to listen to it 500 times yet, so I can't really go on and on and on. But this is something I would recommend to anybody who wants to try something new, because these guys are really good. They've been around for a while. So, there's more than just this to check out. But, this one is in heavy rotation right now. So that's
Their last one's really good, Kaz.
Yeah.
Yeah, the last one's really good.
Yeah, I've only breezed through the other ones. I've been kind of listening to this one the most. So
Yeah. They were originally on Black Widow, and I'm friends with the guys at Black Widow. So I said, man, I would love to steal these guys. I love this band. And then they went over to was it Charisma or Apple? Charisma, right? They went, and to me, I hear like a lot of like Uriah Heep, but prog, it's definitely prog.
No.
Yeah, you know what? we always sell them.
Really good. I just got it too, and I'm like, oh, I
You know,
like
we
this
always-
band anyway. So yeah, it's
We
really
always sell, we always sell that band. And then I guess when this Magical Sin came out and I had it on Professor's Picks, I wound up selling out of all my Arabs and Aspic. They'll all be back in stock by the time this airs. They'll all be back in stock.
I think you have it on vinyl.
I have them on vinyl too.
Yeah, I
They
went
did
looking.
a beautiful job. with
Yeah.
vinyl. Yeah. So that one, in fact, they did it, I believe, a triple fold out cover.
Nice.
That's not a cover to show your parents.
yeah. It's a
You know, there's some
Depends on
boobies.
your parents.
There's some boobies. There's, you know, some guts.
Little gore. Yeah, yeah.
How about that Tussmore cover?
oh, I have a good time showing that when people are like, what? I'm like, yeah, that toad is having a grand old time. Let me tell you. Good pick. All right, Eric.
All right, I'll move it along because I'm with Ken and Chad on my number 4. I'm going with George Hill as well, and pretty much the same story. I really like Pastoralia, which was 2021. This one, I think it just stands out. Ken was right. That whole retro sound. They always have those Tron strings kind of sitting in the back. The one thing that, and I just started listening to this maybe a week and a half ago. The clarinet. Kind of, you don't hear that very often, and that really, it gives that, when it's being used, a little bit of a different feel. They got the flutes, a lot of acoustic guitar along with the electric guitar, but same thing. They just have that great retro sound, and they do it very well. Real good balance between the pastoral and then the kind of the heavier prog stuff. But I really like those guys, so that's my number 4.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, Anthony.
All right, my number 4 is probably a pick that nobody else is going to pick, so I'm doing pretty well here. My number 4 is one that I was recommended from Pete. It's all about the fuzz, Pete. Giobia, the Italian band, Acid Disorder, just drenched in just fuzz and guitar and stoner and psych, and oh, what a great record. And the opening track, Queen of Wands, absolutely stellar. So this is my number 4, Giobia, Acid Disorder, from 2023. Italian.
Good. Yeah, I was going to say good stuff from Italy. Really good stuff. I like that a lot. Good pick. All right, George.
All right. Number 4 is a Greek band, Horizon's End, The Great Destroyer. They got kind of an interesting history. They had 2 albums like 25 years ago that everybody kind of thought was ordinary, and they kind of disappeared for like 20 years. They come out in 2019 with a real banger called Skeleton Keys that was in my top 5 of that year, and this one is back. The concept album, like 70 minutes and change long. They're a quintet, kind of crunchy prog metal. Keyboardist Sakis Bandis writes all the material, and there's not a bad song on this. So if you're into the crunchy prog metal, and this is a very good consistent record, check it out. Horizon's End, The Great Destroyer.
I have their first and maybe their second, and I don't think I've listened to them in 20 years. I remember I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And
yeah, I don't know anybody that talks about them, but these last 2.
There's not a lot of traction on those Greek prog metal bands. They kind of they pop up and then they disappear. The thing is, Pete, you know what? Like 20 years ago, what they were doing is what everybody was doing. So they were good, but were they better than anybody else? Probably not. But they were, they were a good band. So they just kind of blended in with all the others.
Yeah. Probably 20 years ago, I was talking to Ken. I said, what do you have that's new? Oh, I got this really good Greek band. You like Dream Theater? Check them out. Cool. I buy them. I'm like, oh, this is pretty good. And then that's that.
Once or twice a year, I get a package from Steel Gallery Records in Athens. And yeah, I have copies of that. And they always come with, don't ever complain to me. They come to me out of the jewel box. So if you ever, don't bitch to me. These aren't shrink wrap. I get emails like that. So,
yeah. All right, Chad.
All right, keeping with the boring same picks. Number 4 is Agusa, Prima Materia, released July 15th, their 5th studio album, and like everybody else said about it, it's a great record. What really stood out to me, which put this above Yorzio for me, was the amazing flute playing on this. I thought this Jenny Puertas is a killer flute player. So that really set it above for me. I've had trouble where I was going to rank Agusa and Yortzio, and I went back and listened to them back to back, and that just put Agusa over the top for number 4.
Great record. All right, my number 4 is Vita Assemblage, little side project from Nick DeSalvo from Elder and a bunch of his other friends from Elder and other bands. And 4 tracks, 4 lengthy tracks, instrumental prog and psychedelic rock. It's very cool. I think if you like Elder, just think of Elder without vocals and maybe a little less heavy, but this rocks and there's some great guitar work. It's very atmospheric and spacey, and I love the production on it too. Very lush, awesome stuff. If you like psychedelic instrumental prog, Vita, spelled Wiete, Assemblage is the album. Check it out. It's on Stickman Records. Lewis.
All right. My number 3 is a band from Chile called Aceta. And the album is called, I'm going to say it in Spanish and then I'll try to say it in English. Cerebus, La Suite de las Sombras, which is Cerebus, I guess the 3-headed dog from hell. And it's called the Shadow Suite. And these guys play kind of like an RIO symphonic. It's really, really great instrumental stuff. They had another album before that was quite good, but this one I think tops it in every way. I love this record. I love this band. And if people have not checked them out, they're on Bandcamp. So you can buy them through Azafran Media in Mexico. I don't remember what the label is for the Chile album. I don't have anything. I'm on tour, but I just wanted to. That's a great record. So if you guys can check it out, anybody watching, I think you'll be surprised.
And we'll make sure to get everybody's picks listed.
They're on the Mexican label on Azafran.
Yeah, but no, so Juanjo is a distributor for them. But the actual label and the whole thing was put together in Chile. So I don't remember what that other thing was called, but yeah, that's right. Azafran is a Mexican distributor that.
I hear a lot of Luis, I hear a lot of Universe Zero in their music.
There is for sure. It's fantastic. It's actually better than the new Universe Zero. I'll just say it like that. I think.
All right, Ken.
All right, let's see if I can get my graphics together. So my number 3, Lars Fredrik Drosla, Fire for Talinger. To me, we've been talking about all these Norwegian, Swedish bands, whatever. To me, it's Norway's where it's all really happening. There were a lot of really good releases this year. For me, this was the one that resonated with me the most. So there'll be others that'll come up in my honorable mentions. It's like Wobbler, but perhaps more personal and very bombastic, epic tracks. If you like Wobbler, White Willow, I mean, this is the keyboard player, and he breaks out his arsenal, and it's, the only negative I have is I'm sorry, Lars, but I think the cover's really ugly. I know you hand painted it. But no, for me, it's very dynamic, it's bombastic, it's very keyboard driven, but it's got it. For me, it pushes all the right buttons, and I liked a lot of stuff that came out of Norway this year. This is the one I liked the most. So no losers, all winners, and this one was just the best.
Even.
Okay, my number 3 is War of Being from Tesseract. Okay, I mean, and truthfully, this is Tesseract doing what Tesseract do, but I think it's really a step up from where they've been in recent times. I mean, it's been a while since they've released anything new studio album wise, to be fair. I would say this is as strong as probably going right back to the debut, back to 2011. Maybe give it time, that'll be the best thing they've ever done. You can feel that there's a kind of real hunger in them again. They definitely want it. It feels much more cohesive, I think, than they have for quite some time. And the title track, which is 11 minutes plus, I think will go down as one of the defining statements. It's a tremendous album. I love the cover art. This is Tesseract, War of Being.
I've never heard it yet. I haven't had a
Oh,
chance.
really, really good. Really good. Love it.
That's the other thing, right? There's so many good records out.
Yeah.
It's
Yep.
I mean, for myself, I'm just discussing the ones that I bought and that I really enjoyed and that I could, but there's a lot of good stuff out there.
Yeah, it was good.
I'm already hearing things like Arabs and Aspic and thinking, haven't heard that yet.
Yeah.
I think this was a really, really good year for music.
I would agree. I would agree. All right, Mr. Canzoneri, back to you.
All right. This will be the last one that I have talked about with you guys. I wonder if somebody else might have picked it. Another brand new album, Squeaky Feet, Cause for Alarm. This is absolutely stunning. This band is fucking one of the tightest bands I've heard recently. They are all incredibly talented players. I guess they're Berkeley graduates, so they're all fucking virtuosos. You got to be one to even get in there. But this is just, what is it? 81 minutes of go the whole time. It's just shifting time signatures, killer solos. Every player is great. I already said that, but this is a fun album. It gripped me. You guys were talking about it and we're all like, Squeaky Feet, that's a silly name. I mean, maybe they could have done a little better, but you put this on and you're just like, if you like this kind of music, and you should, you put this on and you're like, holy fucking shit, these guys can play. And it's a whole lot of fun. And I'm going to shut up now because maybe somebody else picked it and they might have some more shit to say about it. So
I wonder who that is.
yeah. That was my number 3.
All right, cool. Yeah, that is quite good. Eric.
All right, my number 3, I'm going with Zop, Dominion. I don't have the hard copy yet. I really like these guys. Quirky, Canterbury. This gets spacey, it's synthy. Some great soloing. Minimal vocals, and the vocals I usually will rag on. They work for me on this one. I don't know why. I can't say why, but I like the vocals on this. I obviously prefer the instrumentals, but great. And I went back and got the first one. Both really good. I think it's very similar. They definitely have that Canterbury feel, very quirky, but terrific release from them for that Zop Dominion.
Eric, when it comes to vocalists, Ian Anders should feel honored that you have him as an elite vocalist, correct?
At certain times.
Once upon a time.
Yes.
Well, yeah, once upon a time, in his prime.
Yeah.
In his prime.
Eric, I hooked everybody with the $9 special.
True.
All right, Anthony.
My number 4 is from Europe, an Italian, or not Europe, from Europe. Spanish, the George Lamy find of 2022, Aurora Clara Dreams. The guitar player on this is so good. He reminds me a little bit of Al DeMula in spots. The first track is just so good. The flute player is so good. There's a track on here that's kind of like an ode to Carlos Santana, and then you have another track on here. It's kind of like ode to John McLaughlin Shakti. But what a phenomenal kind of fusion, kind of like rock instrumental record. So this is Aurora Clara Dreams from 2023.
Good choice. Good album. Good album. Speaking of George, he's up next.
My number 3 is No Spoon, Opus. This is a new band from North Carolina, a quartet. So obviously it's their debut. This is right in my wheelhouse. It's very Dream Theater meets Haken. Imagine crossing scenes from a memory with visions, and you're pretty much in the ballpark. They are probably the most polished band coming out of the gate since Haken. I think they really have their shit together. Production, songwriting, the whole deal. So if that anything from that area appeals to you, you got to get on this.
That's a cool cover.
Yeah.
It's a concept album. It's pretty long. It's like 70 minutes. So I know that going in, but it's really good.
Amazing musicianship. And like George said, the album sounds great. Really good. That's a good
bass
choice.
player produced it in their place. So, I mean, the guy did a phenomenal job. He should be producing bands too.
Yeah, good stuff.
They finally pressed CDs.
Real, that's about time. Okay, cool.
Waiting for them. But yeah.
Cool. All right. Chad.
All right, I'm going to mix it up. So from Spain, Gravity Field Disruption. This was released on April 21st. It's sort of a heavy guitar and organ oriented album. It's got some fusion leanings. There's some electronica in there. It's heavy without being metallic, so it's not. I wouldn't call it prog metal, but there's a lot of heaviness to it. It can be quirky at times, but I just found myself coming back to this over and over again. I found it was a really solid album, a good one to turn up loud. And speaking of album covers, I think this one's pretty damn cool myself.
Yeah, I like that. That's pretty.
Yeah. So if that's your thing, check out Gravity Fields. Really cool album.
Cool. All right, my number 3, the latest release from Hawkwind, The Future Never Waits. It's Hawkwind. You know exactly what you're going to get, and most of the time, it's usually damn good. The space rock legends don't disappoint here. I would argue this is their best album in a while, even though I've liked their last bunch. There's some shorter tunes mixed with some longer ones. Dave Brock still sounds great. There's all those blippy keyboards and things all over the place, and it's catchy. It sounds good. It's Hawkwind. That's my pick for number 3. The Future Never Waits.
He's like the ageless wonder. He's what, like 82, I think.
Yeah, or older. Yeah, he's getting up there.
He was 70 or 70
Amazing.
something at Nearfest.
I know, right? Yeah,
That was 2007.
and it's like no matter who's in the band, it always sounds like Hawkwind. That's just awesome stuff. Heavy.
Talk about prolific in the last 10 years
Yeah,
between
they put
solo
out-
albums and Hawkwind albums.
Yeah, it's like an album every year and live albums every year. It's crazy trying to keep up with them. It's just like it's ridiculous. All right, Lewis, back to you.
All right. I was just gonna say, to be fair, Hawkwind is not exactly inventing the wheel with all these albums. They're good, but we know what it's like the AC/DC of prog, right? But they're great. The number 2 for me is a band from Spain. They play, I guess you would call it like fusion Canterbury prog. It's a band called Amoeba Split, and the album's called Quiet Euphoria. I truly love that album. It's a fantastic record. Every record by that band is great. This is particularly good. So, number 2, Amoeba Split, Quiet Euphoria.
Better be good coming from Spain.
It's going to catch me and sneeze it.
All right, Ken.
All right. So my number 2, the only reason this is number 2 and not number 1 is I don't want anybody to cry nepotism. So my number 2 is Ice Age, Waves of Loss and Power.
Nepotism.
Gotta cry, Chad.
This was my favorite prog metal album of the year. Band comes back after 21 years, and they make their best album. It's what I call old school prog metal, just virtuosic keyboards, guitar. Actually, all the musicianship is totally off the charts, but great melodies, hooks. Josh Pincus, phenomenal singer. If you like, sort of, he's got that Dennis DeYoung thing going on. Always did, always will. And it's you get that Dream Theater element. The Dream Theater was a big influence on them, and it's got the sound that I like, that kind of got me going to start a prog metal label, Sensory, and I highly recommend it. So it's a great record.
Great.
Made my top 31.
Yeah.
Ken got on my case because it wasn't higher, but
That's right. Well, but,
top 20 is pretty good.
all right, I'm going to go blow my nose.
All right, Steven.
Okay, my number 2 is Oblivion Protocol with The Fall of the Shires. Okay, so there's a little bit of an unusual backstory to this album because it's actually the second part of a concept piece that was started by the band Threshold. okay, with their Legends of the Shires album from 2017. And the band said at the time that they were going to follow up. I think it was meant to be 3 parts that they were going to do. They did the first one and then decided not to. But Richard West, the keyboard player who wrote a lot of the kind of story for it, still wanted to do it. So, unlike most bands, they decided not to fall out. Threshold released the excellent Dividing Lines last year, and Mr. West has gone on to do this himself and follow it up as a solo project, but it is still a continuation. As you'd expect, he plays keyboards. He's got Rude Jolie from Within Temptation and on guitar, Darby Todd on drums, who's played with everybody in recent years, and a guy called Simon Anderson on bass. Unsurprisingly, yes, there are strong links to Threshold in there. You can't deny that at all. I think that's probably intentional because of where it comes from. But West is very much a different singer. It becomes much more of a kind of prog rock album that's heavy rather than that kind of riff-driven Threshold thing that they do. And his voice is perfect for this. He's not the best singer in the world, but it really works with the music that he's written here. And oddly enough, I didn't really love the first Shires album from Threshold. It was one of the ones that I listened to, liked, and I've never gone back to it. And this is head and shoulders above it, in my opinion, as is the Threshold album that they released last year. So it seems to have worked really well for everybody. It took me a while to buy this when it came out. And I love Threshold, have done really right from the start, because I didn't love the album that this is spawned from. So this has been a really, really pleasant surprise. I love it. It's catchy, it's memorable, heavy in places, really good. So this is Oblivion Protocol with The Fall of the Shires. That's my number 2.
I don't go back to the Threshold album either, and I really like it though, but it's too much to take in for me for whatever reason.
Yeah, it just doesn't click for whatever reason. I liked it at the time, and then I don't find myself going back to it. And then they released Dividing Lines, which to me was a better album, so I listened to it more. This is fantastic. I really genuinely, I kind of let it go by and then thought, I'll listen to some of it online and give it a go, and was like, oh, hold on, I've missed the boat here. And I've played it all the time since I got it. Really, really like it.
Cool. Chris.
Okay. Sorry. Continuing our tour of Europe. This band is from France. I do not know how to pronounce the name. I'm thinking it's Stoom. There's some umlauts there over the O. I don't know what that it signifies in the French language. Stamm, Stoom, whatever. This band kicks ass. This album is mostly instrumental. The first track has a couple of women sort of moaning and wailing and whining, and it might put you off if that's where you started out. You know, I almost was like, come on, what? But it soon moves on to some very eclectic and varied and heavy music that is kind of all over the place. Massive Disturbed Meta Art is the name of the album, and that's kind of what they're doing. You know, it's every track has kind of different instrumentation on it. There's even a guy playing a saxophone on one of them, but it eventually devolves or evolves into this, gent oriented heavy ass track. But this is a pretty darn good album from a band that I had never heard of until I listened to it for the first time. Check it out if you're into prog metal, but not, there's no lyrics, there's no story, there's no cohesion even in this album, but it is a nice group of tracks that I enjoyed very much. And don't let the two ladies in the beginning put you off your chow, because they're kind of, just it's check it out. You'll find out. I'm not going to do an impression. I almost did, but I'm not gonna.
Come
So.
on.
Were you surprised that you let it keep going after the beginning of that?
Yeah. It was one of these ones. I was listening to something else and it came up next on Apple Music, and I'm like, what? But I was doing something else. So I was kind of, like, I'll change it later. And then I got further in. I'm like, shit. I'm like, this is something I want to freaking own. And so I downloaded it. I don't think this one's available in the physical copies, so you got to Bandcamp it. But yeah, check it out. Stom, something.
I
Cool
love
cover.
that cover. That cover's great.
Yeah, I like that cover.
Yeah. So
Got saxophone, Anthony, though.
dude.
Oh, I can, I can make,
It's only half a song.
Right.
You
It's
know?
probably Mel Collins is playing sax, so that'll be fine.
There's more wailing, screaming women than saxophone. So
It's the same thing, really.
yeah, hey, I like sax.
You know, it's a
Yeah.
trade-off, you know?
Luis, how many octaves does a screaming woman have?
It's not a virtuoso performance. It's
It really depends on the woman.
I
Fair enough.
suppose, yeah. Maybe she was really letting it out, but I didn't think she was amazing. There might be two of them
No,
actually.
I mean,
Not as good as Irene Pappas on Aphrodite's Child.
Not even close. No, I'm sorry.
Go on.
All right, Eric.
All right, my number 2 is Marcus Fensalo and Maven Safia. Again, I probably tortured those names. Interlation, guitar, very heavy guitar stuff. Frank Gabelli plays on a track. One vocal misstep, I think, but that's it. Great stuff. Terrific players. Heavy. I think I have the disc. I was playing it on Apple Music when I was revisiting all this stuff. They classify them as metal. Obviously, there's some fusion sounding guitar lines in there, but I love it. I mean, it's just guitar heavy from start to finish. Terrific record. I'd never heard of either of these guys before. I'm sure you guys probably have at some point, but great stuff. If you're into guitar, check it out.
Nice.
That's bad about it. It was great.
Anthony.
My number 2. You guys ready?
Wow. All right.
Steven Wilson, Harmony Codex. I think it's really good. It's a type of record you have to actually listen to in kind of like a sitting. There's a track on there where he's got Ackerfeld doing kind of like the menacing voiceover, which is fantastic. The last track, Staircase, is absolutely gorgeous. And of course, my favorite on this is What Life Brings. Just beautiful pop song. It's kind of dreamy. He's kind of like in that synth era again, but it's dreamy and it's very well produced, of course, because he produced it. So this is my number 2, Steven Wilson, Harmony of Codex.
All right. George?
I'm gonna out predictable Anthony. Number 2 is Haken, Fauna. Of course, this is up there for me. It's their 7th album. I actually had a hard time with this when it first came out, and it wasn't just me. I know it was Pete, some other guys. Found it a little difficult. And I'm not it's a grower guy, but sure enough, it grew on me. I had Ken teasing me that it wasn't going to grow on me, but it did. To the point now where I think it combines the recent heaviness with the old progginess and quirk. And now it is number 3 for me in their catalog after the 2 Sensory ones. So Haken Fauna, my number 2.
Yeah, I love it. It took me a handful of listens before I finally got it, and that was in my top 31 of the year. I think it made it, top 15 somewhere. I forget exactly where it sat, but it's as far as like prog and prog metal releases of the year, it's one of my favorites. That's a really good one. So cool. Chad.
All right, my number 2 was actually a recommendation from a friend of mine from Montreal, Mr. Yves Dubé.
Yves.
Somebody know him. We give him a shout out, give him all the credit for this one. This is a band from France. The album was released on October 27th, and it's called Essor et Chute. And the album is Essor et Chute de notre civilisation. How's that? Who knows? It's very jazzy. It's very jazzy for me. But interestingly, I think there's just enough structure in this album that it keeps my interest. So it's not all over the place. I'm not trying to understand it, Ken. There's a lot of flute, there's sax, there's double bass all over it. There's some cool hollow body guitar. There's some really cool avant elements. I mean, I think some of this could be really in Luis's wheelhouse, all instrumental. I've just found myself coming back to it over and over again. I really like it. I ordered the physical copy on Bandcamp, and this, let me turn the graphic off to show you the actual thing. It's a 7x7 cardboard sleeve, but that's not the coolest thing. The coolest thing is it has a magnetic seal. It closes with magnets. That's badass.
Yeah,
The actual
That's going to fit
Yeah, sure.
perfectly in the rest of your collection.
It's the best thing I've ever seen. And this actual CD comes in there, and then like it's got this kind of cool art card with credits and whatnot on the back. But really cool, really surprising album. It just jumped to the top of my list after several listens. Like I said, jazzy, avant, progressive, more some old school type of instruments, and just really, really, really cool disc. Highly recommend checking that out.
I'm ashamed I forgot it. I have it. It's great. It's fucking great.
6 months from now, I could hear it now. Cheryl, where the hell did I put that damn French CD?
I know where I'm organized, damn it. I know where it goes.
I'm sure it's great. Eve is like the king of like obscure heavy psych prog and stoner stuff.
I don't go for some of that stuff necessarily, but this one, this was a whole different ball game. I really liked it. I check out a lot of his stuff when he puts it up, so he's almost as good as you guys.
I just love the fact that the magnet closers are the best thing you've ever seen. I thought I didn't leave the house.
Stephen, look, watch, listen. That's cool. They're magnets.
My life has changed.
You're with me.
I don't even think I need these now.
Stephen, Chad still plays with Legos, so you know.
Is it as cool as my King Crimson? Is it as cool as my King Crimson glass?
No,
shut up.
Magnets are always cooler than glass. Just saying.
Come on.
Glass is cool, but they're magnets.
Nothing's cooler than a fucking magnet. Everybody knows that.
Pop? You hear that pop?
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, my number 2, the latest from a band who's puts out new albums every year, every 2 years, and the last couple of years they've been changing their sound quite a bit. It's Glass Hammer's Arise. Awesome cover. Love the cover art. Their last handful of albums, their last 3 albums, have seen them do some really different stuff, moving away from that whole kind of symphonic Yes type sound that they were doing for a long time. This is very space rocky. It's kind of heavy in spots. Their last 2 albums were pretty like kind of Rush heavy in spots. Here they're doing like this weird Hawkwind Tangerine Dream mixed with like heavy prog. New female singer. It's very much Steve Babb seemed to have really done a lot of work on this album. He wrote all the lyrics and the whole storyline and plays a lot of the instruments, but Fred is here too as well. But yeah, really cool album, just very, very different. I'm still getting used to the new Glass Hammer sound. It's what happens when a band kind of has a formula for many, many years and they do a complete about face. It usually takes a little bit to get used to, but I dig this. Good album. But it's a very different Glass Hammer. But yeah, Arise from GH from Tennessee.
I kept forgetting to check that out.
I've been hesitating to buy that or listen to it because the previous ones always had one good heavy song, and then it sort of became what they are, which is not bad, but it's not what I wanted to hear. So
I like it. It's good.
Good album.
Yeah, I love Babs. Those guys are cool. They're great people.
All right, Lewis, what do you got for your final?
All right, this is gonna piss everybody off, but this is what I do, and I don't give a shit. I actually couldn't choose between these 2, so I'm just gonna fucking throw them both out there. You can disqualify them if you want, but for me, the 2 records that I heard the most, that were more in my head the entire time, was Haken, Fauna. Haken is a band that I, unlike other people, really had difficulty getting into. But Fauna was the first album of theirs that it clicked with me right away. Like all the ingredients were there from the start, and I just loved it. I fucking love that record, and I saw them on that tour, and they killed it. So Fauna has to be number 1. But the other record that came out this year that I also really inhabited mentally for a long time is Roger Waters' Dark Side Redux, which everybody loves to pan, and people love to shit on it, but I think it is a brilliant piece of work. And it's a great way to do the 50th anniversary, other than just repackaging the old shit with another sticker, maybe a poster, and buy it again and again and again. This time, at least you have new content, and it's actually very well done. If you like Roger Waters, you'll probably like it. It's not intended to substitute the original. It's a different thing, and I loved it. So those are my two number ones.
1A and 1B, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, Ken, you're up next. I'm gonna just pop out and let the dogs out, but carry on, folks.
Who let the dog
So my
out?
number one is thanks to Pete. It's Mondo Drag Through the Hourglass,
Wow.
also known as Wish You Would Hear Echoes of the Dark Side of Animals. That's what it is. I mean, it's retro proggy Floyd. It's Pink Floyd, basically. I mean, but Connor Riley, he's in Birth, and he was in Astra, and he's now the bass player. He was a keyboard player, I believe, in Astra, right?
Yeah, he was a keyboard player in Astra.
He's
Yeah.
playing bass in Mondo Drag, and I think he brings an element of those bands to Mondo Drag. And I'm kind of working my way backwards through the catalog, and the older albums are quite good as well. I'm not sure how these guys slip past me, but this is just, you like Pink Floyd, you got to hear this album. It's really, really well done, and it was a lot of fun. And no stale tracks, just pure Pink Floyd worship. And yeah, I loved it. It was great.
The one before that is very good too.
The Occultation of Light. I think that's how
Yeah,
it's
they're both great.
very,
They're
very
both
good.
great.
They were, yeah. And you know what, Luis, I went back even further because why not? I kept selling both of those titles, and that one's good too. So self-titled. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's they don't try and be anything other than what they are. This sort of retro proggy band, and they're not like Astra, and they're not like Birth. You're not going to start hearing quotes of Yes and ELP and all these other bands. It's focused on Floyd, but that's why I call it, Wish You Were Here, Echoes of the Dark Side of Animals.
Doesn't sound anything like Moss Generator.
No.
Thankfully, no.
Good album. Good pick.
Yeah. So that was, we owe that one to Pete.
Steven.
Okay, probably no great surprise. I have Haken at number one with Fauna. I mean, I'm a long-term fan of the band as well. One of the most consistent prog metal bands over the past decade and a half. Even with the albums where I'm not quite as on board, they're still great. But for me, Fauna is right up there. I had a different journey with this, more similar to Lewis's. I clicked with this straight away, really like it. They have evolved a lot over the last, I would say, 4 albums.
Yes.
There's a great balance of accessibility with real technical ability here. They managed to do that without losing that kind of heavier streak, but it is maybe a little bit more song-based at the same time. I just think it's fantastic. Like Lewis, I also saw them on the tour for this. Man, oh man, they can bring it. They are phenomenal live. But yeah, I love it. Fauna is phenomenal.
What I also liked about that you mentioned is that they do a lot of electronic stuff too, but it's not, they're heavy, but it doesn't sound like industrial.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. It has like a pop sensibility to the electronic use, but yet it's still this. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful record. There's an homage to Gentle Giant.
Yes.
It's just such an incredible piece of work. I just love that record. It's amazing.
Now, how would you feel if they had made a record with a homage to Elias of Sun Hillow? How would you feel about that?
I would have taken a shit on it and I would have mailed it to you. I think you would have enjoyed that.
This album's with the new keyboard player, right?
Yeah.
Who was the original?
It's the new
Original
old
keyboard player, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Did it make a difference for you?
I think there is a difference. Whether it's obvious that it's the same guy that's come back, I wouldn't have said so. No, there are nods to the early stuff. You can kind of feel the links that are there. I would suggest that the last 2 albums were probably the most removed from that sound. So it doesn't feel like they've gone back and just gone, well, we've brought him back, so let's get that sound back. But it kind of combines all of those elements. And Lewis is right as well with those kind of electronic parts. That's maybe I class that as accessibility. There is a kind of pop sensibility in there, but it's not pop. It's not pop music. I mean, you can sing the choruses, but that's not new for this band. But there is a brightness in there without being any kind of sellout or anything like that. I'm really impressed. It can be, I think, all things to all people. It's really clever.
Very well done.
Yep.
Cool, Chris.
Okay, this album is by a band from Boston, another group of Berkeley graduates. This is The Fox and the Bird by a band called OK Goodnight. This is something that I wouldn't think or wouldn't have thought that I would get into when I first put it on, kind of like the last album. Female singer. She's an excellent singer. She's sort of in the, like Evanescence, Amy Lee kind of mold, a lot of range, soaring high vocals. And this starts out, it's a concept album about a fox and a bird and a bunch of other animals. I'm not going to say I really dig the story, but it is a concept album. There is a long story, and as they go through their little journey, shit gets a lot more difficult, and as they go, the music gets a lot heavier. And they're starting out with acoustic pieces and some nice singing from this lady, and by the end, they bring in another woman to do death vocals, sort of a la she sounds almost like the lady from Ginger.
Ginger, great band.
Yeah, so brutal and grindy, but you can understand the words that she's saying. But this thing takes off from a little oh, ding 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 ding, a fox and a hound, or a fox and the bird are going on a little trip, and then they run into a snake and a crocodile, and shit gets real. And this is a very, very heavy album from about halfway on until the end.
Sounds like Pitfall.
Yeah, they have to cross a pond full of crocodiles and shit, and then listen for yourself, man. You'll be taken back. You'll be having your Atari in your hand.
What's more metal, The Fox and the Bird or Watership Down?
This is much more metal.
All right.
Although Watership Down, there's some brutal death going on.
There is.
That's a hardcore cartoon. It's not for kids.
Is it the bear that's got the two singers? Is that right? But is it the bear by the time that we turn up there's the two singers? Because that's fantastic.
Yeah,
maybe
maybe.
The one with both vocalists is really outstanding. Yeah,
It's either the bear or
I think it's the bear.
the mountain, maybe.
Or might be.
She's on two of them.
Yeah,
So
because the combination is fantastic. The mellower stuff kind of leaves me a bit cold. Once it kicks, wow,
yeah,
it's
once it starts
phenomenal.
off, I think it's the drought.
I
I
like
think
an album
is
with
when it
that, to be fair. But
Yeah.
when they do that, they're outstanding.
Yeah.
What
so-
did I tell you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the mellow stuff,
Yeah. So anyway, yeah,
Keep an eye on
good.
it, sure.
Yeah, when that album's rocking, it is. Woo.
Yep.
Yeah,
So
good musicianship on there.
Fox and the Bird.
All right. Eric.
Well, my number one is In Transit from Mr. Golden, and Chris mentioned this as his number 3, and this hit me like a ton of bricks.
Here
I'm
you go,
going
Eric.
Squeaky Feet, Cause
Here you
for
go,
Alarm. Chris, you kind of said everything. High energy, the guitar playing, always my focus, absolutely amazing. Intricate arrangements. For me, I get a very jam band feel, but completely on the prog side where these guys can play anything. It doesn't happen like that very often. I mean, Ken threw this out in one of our conversations, one listen, and I was hooked. I've been listening to it pretty much nonstop since, so I'm just waiting for my hard copy. But to me, this just blew me away. So I'm going with Squeaky Feet, Cause for Alarm at number 1.
That is a terrible.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you.
You will have it any day. It's in the mail.
Put one aside for me too, Ken.
You got it.
All right, Anthony.
My number 1 was in Pete's top 5. What was it? Honorable mention. How do you say this band name again? It's Nicholas DeSalvo from Elder.
Vita.
Assemblage. This was released in the summer. Ken told us about it. It's what's odd about it is the leader, this Nicholas DeSalvo, who plays guitar and lead vocals, is all instrumental. And we found out from a couple tour photos, he actually plays drums on the album. He doesn't play any guitar, but it just hits me like a ton of bricks. It's dreamy, it's Floydy, it's just psychedelic. It's like psychedelic meets krautrock. It's absolutely gorgeous. Four tracks of krautrock, psychedelic bliss, dreamy. My number one of the year, Rita Assemblage. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, good album. Really good album. Good sounding album too. All right, George.
My number one's already been called. Avenged Sevenfold, Life is But a Dream. Their last album, 2016's The Stage, had proggy songs, proggy bits, and their fanboys were pissed at that. And they went all Louis Nasser, no fucks given. They doubled down on everything that they did on that album. They just threw caution in the wind. Well, the reason I suggested it to Stephen was you guys had done a UKC show about A Night at the Opera, and I was thinking about how the breadth of that album, the scope of all the different songs. And I said, well, maybe you like this then, because this is like that. You have to hear the whole album. Hearing one or two songs does absolutely fucking nothing. You don't get a clue of what it's all about. And, you know, he's not the only one that got into it like that. Jamie Laszlo, Davey Gallagher, Andy Edwards, they all thought they didn't like him because of what they know about him. And then they hear it and they're like, I like this a lot. And like Steven, this is my most played album of the year. And it's the one I'm most impressed with the ambition of. So I can't believe it myself, but I'm putting it above Haken, Avenged Sevenfold.
All right.
Yeah. Seriously, knock me sideways. It's phenomenal.
I have to fucking buy it now. That's all I have to say. Yeah.
If anybody's gonna like it, it'll be you.
Yeah.
It almost makes me want to check it out.
Yeah.
I need to revisit it because it didn't really hit me, but I probably need to go back again. Yeah, I've been hit or miss with them over the years anyway, but I'm gonna go back and revisit. All right, Chad, what do you got? Final.
All right, my number one is another band from France. Somehow my 1 and 2 are both from France. Instrumental band called Pascanal. And stupid Prezi just died. Yay, Prezi. The album's called Marauda Autumnale. It was released on June 9th. It's the same guys that do Alco Frizz bass. A lot of Canterbury in there, a lot of Rhodes, a lot of guitar. It surprisingly has electronic drums, but they're really, really damn good, and it's hard to tell. So I'm surprised I'm picking something that doesn't have real drums. But this album is just upbeat from start to finish. Like I said, great Canterbury, great playing, and it just kind of got infectious, and I found myself putting it on very often. So Pascanal, Maraude Autumnal is my number one.
I like that record a lot, but I couldn't get past the the sequence drums.
I like it.
Yeah, they didn't bother me. I thought the sound of them was actually surprisingly good for electronic drums.
When Chad said Prezi died, I thought something happened to Joe Biden. Got me scared.
Good album. Really good album. Good pick. All right, my top pick for today. I only just got this one, like within the last week, and I had never listened to this band before. I've always heard of them, but so many people are talking such great things about this. I said, let me give it a shot, and I'm just blown away by how much I like this. Moon Safari. How do you pronounce this? Himmelbacken Volume 2. First new album in 10 years. Swedish band, although doesn't sound like all the other Swedish bands that we've been talking about at all. To me, they sound more like a British band. They've got part of the songs are very melodic rock AOR, very melodic and catchy, kind of like Cats in Space meets Queen meets Styx. Some of it is just good rockin' heavy prog, and then you get a track like Teen Angel meets the Apocalypse, which is 21 minutes of what you would expect from a Swedish prog band. The vocals are outstanding. All the guys in the band sing. There's multi-part vocal harmonies everywhere. Great guitars, great keyboards, everything is just wonderful. Really good sounding album too. And the more I listen to it, the more I like it. So yeah, Moon Safari, Himmelbacken Volume 2.
And I will quickly say, Pete, live, they can do those vocals.
Yes,
Pretty cool.
Very impressive.
I have seen them at Rossfest. Plus the dudes are they're nice guys also. But they
You know,
can,
Luis, that's where I met you.
that's right. At that Rossfest.
That's right.
Yeah.
I was whacked out on Percocets from my knee surgery.
That's right. I got worried about you. I don't know why.
Because I was sitting in the van by myself.
You realize it was just normal, Lewis.
You just looked like a
I was like,
like a mark, and I thought this guy needs some help. I'm just going to stand next to him, make sure he's okay.
let me talk to him until the paramedics show up.
That's right. Keep him alive.
All right. Honorable mentions. We'll have everyone just breeze through theirs real quick if you have them. Lewis.
Well, for sure, I would mention Enslaved Heimdall. Enslaved is a great band, another fucking Norwegian band that is awesome. I want to give a shout out. I was very surprised by the fact that there was a new record by them, and it's very, very good. Land of Chocolate, Your Finest Hour. It's a great record.
Yeah.
I love that record. And I can't think of the third one. I'm having a case of the olds. I'm sorry, I've been buses and shit. And if it comes back to me, I'll call it out. But those two for sure.
Cool. Yeah, both good. Both really good. Yeah, that Enslaved is awesome. Enslaved have been on quite a roll these last 5 or 6.
And of course, the one that Chad brought up, the Magnetic Box, the Frenchies. What a great record! I really should have remembered it. That is a killer record. People buy it. Yeah.
All right, Ken.
Honorable mention.
Oh, geez.
Uh,
Someone's been in this in
hey,
the clip art.
hey, get out your notebooks. First one I got. Okay, good night. As Chris was saying, young band from Berkeley. Lead singer is Casey Lee Williams, and she has a big following in the anime soundtrack field. Her dad, and that's how I got turned on to this band. They were looking for a label deal. Her dad composes soundtracks for all these Japanese anime films, and she sings on a lot of them. So she went to Berkeley, and they put together a band, and these guys can play like crazy. And they put together this concept album. It's not their first release. And frankly, they don't even really consider themselves to be a prog band, I don't think. So they're looking at different markets. Next one I got here. Crownlands, secretly the album that Rush fans wish Rush would make if they were still together.
False.
The album that was the most fun to listen to in 2023 for me, the album that had me laugh my ass off, Nuclear Power Trio, Wet Ass Plutonium. You got Donald Trump on guitar, Vladimir Putin on bass, and King Jong-un on drums. And it's all instrumental. Eric, did you hear that album?
I have not.
You would love this album.
Okay.
It's all instrumental, nonstop shred fest, but it's just upbeat and it's just tons and tons of fun. And if you really want to laugh your ass off, go look at the videos. These guys, they're wearing masks. One's got the Trump mask on, the other one's got the Putin mask on, and Kim Jong-un mask on. And man, these guys shred.
What's the name again, Ken?
They're called Nuclear Power Trio.
Okay.
And then they have more than one album, but the new one is called Wet Ass Plutonium.
I won't forget that.
Oh, and the song title, even the song titles are funny. So I'm telling you, it's a blast. Next, I got on my list one that Pete just mentioned, Moon Safari, and I've got the whole catalog back in stock. So if you're looking for some of the older titles, we got them now. An album that nobody mentioned, but I thought was a great record from one of the greatest guitarists that ever lived, Robin Trower. Joyful Sky with Sari Shore. He found a great vocalist. Nothing against his previous vocalist, but since James Dewar passed away, it's been a while. But this woman, Sari Shore, is a very soulful singer, and she matches his playing. It's beautiful, beautiful album.
I'll back you on that too, Ken. She's got a great voice.
Yeah.
She's really
Agusa, a great Agusa album. Not my favorite Agusa album, but this was a great year for music. The honorable mentions, any of these honorable mentions I'm coming up with, could have been in my top 5 pretty much. So next I got Glass Hammer, their space rock album. Excellent. One that I'm surprised hasn't been mentioned, The Chronicles of Father Robin. This is book 1, The Songs of and Tales of Aroia, book 1. And I think the only reason why it didn't make my top 5 was, again, I liked Lars's album a little bit better, and I didn't think book 2 was as good as book 1. So I want to wait for book 3 and sort of judge the whole thing as the one piece of work as it was conceived. I'm not sure it was a great idea to put them out individually, like 3 months apart. The final part's coming out in February. An album which I thought was excellent. The new one from Leorm. It's called Leorm and Friends. And it was ill-conceived packaging. It's 3 CDs. The first CD is the new album from Leorm. It's fantastic. Sounds like Leorm. Second album is Leorm playing with old members of the band who had since departed, like Tolo Martin and Tony Pagliuca, and it's okay. And then the third disc is like a compilation of prog bands from the Marrakesh label that have absolutely nothing to do with Leorm. And unfortunately, you're paying for all of this. So, but taking the album by itself, the core album, it's a brilliant, brilliant Leorm album. And if you're a fan, you won't be disappointed with it. And then my number 1 honorable mention is Squeaky Feet. And so the story, I should just give a little quick backstory on this. They reached out to me. I had no idea where these guys came from. It turns out that one of my longtime customers and a Sea of Tranquility follower, Robert Panullo, the drummer in this band, is the son of Robert Panullo's cousin, and he had told them to contact me. So these guys are rooted in the jam band scene, but at their core, they're a prog rock band. So you kind of get these really intense instrumental parts, mostly instrumental. There are vocals, and the vocals kind of come and go, get out of the way for these guys to just blaze. And it's heavy, but proggy, it's intense, and it's a lot of fun. And apparently these guys tour, and they tour the East Coast, and they come around. I'm going to go see them.
I'll be your date.
Absolutely. Wow. Maybe they'd be a good place to show up at a festival somewhere. You know what I mean, Pete?
I hear you.
That might be a good choice.
Pete rhymes with Squeaky Feet.
And I should say, so everybody's good. This is, we're obviously filming this in advance. Pete and I are going to talk about this album a bit more in the professor's picks before this airs. So by the time you're going to hear me talking about this yet again, you're going to be sick of hearing about this band. But we've got them, and it's selling like mad already. And I think it deserves it. And if it would have come out like a month or 2 ago, this would have been my number 1 album for the year.
Wow.
I'm glad Chris was smart enough to pick it.
I praise
And
you.
Eric too. All right, I'll throw.
I'm not that smart, but
No, I'll throw Eric. I mean, you were
Just
just
that
following,
good.
you were following Chris's lead, but what the hell? I'll just, anyway, those are my honorable mentions.
All right, good stuff. Stephen.
Okay, I'm going to start with one that probably should be in my top 5 if it was a prog rock album, and it's not really, but it is. This is Flight with Echoes of Journey Past. Okay, now we talk about bands like Wishbone Ash, Rush, Captain Beyond, Blue Oyster Cult. We mention all these bands on this show. that's really what this sounds like. It also sounds a little bit like Thin Lizzy and Rainbow, so I couldn't really put it in my top 5 because it's not pure prog rock. I think lots of people that watch this show will get a kick out of it though. So this is Flight with Echoes of Journeys Past. It's really, really good.
I think I need to hear that. I need to hear that.
Yeah, Stephen, what label is that on?
Oh, that's a very good question. I got it. It's on. Wow, I can't read. Dying Victims.
Dying Victims?
Divine.
Oh, Divine. I'm writing this down.
There you go. It's really good. Absolutely fantastic. There you go. Flight, Echoes of Journeys Past. Yes, Pete, you'll love it. Just putting that out there. Right, my other ones.
Getting out their notepad.
There you go. My other ones are Cycles of Pain by Angra, which is, I mean, they never were not on form, but this is a real return to form. Best album for 20 years from them. What a band. Fantastic. I have got, the album's called The Approbation. I have no idea what the band are called. Avkurvist or Alkurist? No idea. Thank you. See, I knew that really. Norwegian, it's right in my wheelhouse. There's a bit of Opeth, there's a bit of Porcupine Tree. I kind of thought I was done with that kind of stuff and thought I don't need to hear anyone else do it. They do it well enough that I do. Then I've got Jason Bieler and the Baron von Bielski Orchestra with Postcards from the Asylum. He's a singer in Saigon Kick. Bonkers again. This is all over the place. It is rock, it is prog, it is pop, it is metal. It's really good. And Geobeer. I wouldn't have heard this if it wasn't for Pete. This is great. I mean, you can tick the boxes as things go by. You can say, oh, there's the Hawkwind part. Oh, there's the early Porcupine Tree part. It doesn't matter. They do that well. It doesn't matter. There you go. That's my honourable mentions.
It's upside down.
I knew that.
All right.
It works either way. It's that good.
That is true.
Absolutely. Just keep going.
Can you imagine if it had magnets?
Yeah.
Would have been number 1.
Yeah, exactly. Chris, you got any left?
Well, I'm really liking the new Peter Gabriel. Happen to be sitting next to me. I think the rest of them that I had, everybody's talked about. Roar Claire's Dreams, the first, Father Robin, not the second, mind you. Ice Age, killer. My little, stats for Apple Music or whatever, this is my most listened to album of the year. So I don't know why it didn't make the top 5. And then here, Pages from the Sea by Stefano Panunzi. This is a really nice piano album. There is some singing on it that kind of stinks, but the piano parts, and there's more instrumentation as well. But this is just a chill, mellow album with a freaking killer cover.
That is awesome.
Love this cover.
Yes.
And then Baroness's Stone. Really nice comeback for them. New female guitarist in the band. She brings a whole new energy. She's really good. Of course, I don't remember her freaking name or where she came from, but she was in another band and she's awesome. And this is a great album. So that's what I had.
Cool. Eric.
Yep, I got a couple. I know this is cheating, but if this guy puts out an album, it's going to be in my top somewhere. Shreni and Phillips, they both kick ass. Derek will always be in my list. I also like the Aurora Clara. Not as good as their previous two, but definitely a good record. Pete, you turned me on to this one. I really like this Uriah Heep. The organ and guitar are just fantastic on that. These guys kill. No matter how old they are, they're still kicking. And I'm with Chris. I really like the Gabriel. He's probably one of my favorite singers. It's an incredible sounding record, and I really like the tune so far. So got to throw Peter in there as well.
I was quite cynical when it came out, but it's really grown on me. Really like it.
Nice surprise.
Two things. The name of the guitarist is Gina. I believe her name is Gina Gleason. I don't
Yes,
know
it
if
is.
I saw that tour for Stone. Fucking awesome. And I just remembered what was the other record I wanted to mention. It's the Devin Townsend Empath Live thing. with Mike Keeley and Nate Navarro and all those guys. What an incredible band. What an incredible record. So that's for sure an honorable mention. Devin Townsend, Empath Live 2023. Great stuff.
Anthony, got any left?
Yeah, I got two. They've been mentioned before, but as Ken said, Mondo Drag, Through the Hourglass, and of course the new Aguza, which is another great one. So what did you call this, Ken?
Oh yeah, I called it. What did I say? I said, "Wish you would hear echoes of the dark side of animals."
Yes.
Makes sense. George.
I got the Angra, like Steven, usually a power metal band, but every 3 or 4 albums they decided to prog out, and this is the best since Temple of Shadows. I'll back Ken on Nuclear Power Trio. Instrumental shred with heavy doses of prog and Latin and funk. Actually, the bass player is great, and they're all like in Metal Blade bands, so it's very
Yeah.
strange. Temic, a new band with ostensibly a super band with ex-Haken Diego Tejeda and Eric Gillette from Neil Morse Band. Really good vibe to their stuff. They got a bright future. I'll back Eric, Marcus Venisalo, Interlation. It's a shred album, but like elevated, classy, the best in quite a while. Well, since Cyric at least. And the new Lalu. Not quite as good as the last one, but still very good. That's it.
Cool. Chad?
All right, mine are, I have 4. They've all been mentioned, so I'll do them quick. We'll do Lars. We'll do Marcus. We'll do Robin. And we'll do some Squeaky Feet. There's my 4.
Bring on the feet.
Bring on the feet. And for all of mine, you'll have to wait till the full list is posted on Sea of Tranquility webzine in about a week. So the mystery deepens. What are they going to be? You'll have to wait and see.
Pete, is this going to air on Christmas Day or?
It'll air on Tuesday.
No, day
26th.
after.
26.
Day after. So that's a good point, Anthony. So I hope everybody watching had a wonderful Christmas, which was yesterday. All right. We obviously taped this a week in advance. So hopefully you had a great holiday. And we've got New Year's Eve coming up and New Year's Day. So 2024 is right around the corner. But thanks for spending a little time with us on this end of 2023 wrap up. We've got another album study coming up on our next episode. Lewis is going to be picking that one. We have yet to find out what that's going to be, but we're anxiously awaiting that. So we're going to start studying, and we'll see you in 2 weeks here on In the Prog Seat. Thanks for watching, everybody. Visit us on the web at www.seatranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube all together.
All the
Damn
damn
time.
We'll have all our picks posted down below, and please make sure to list your favorite prog and prog-related picks in the comments section, and we'll see you next time. For Lewis, Ken, Stephen, Chris, Eric, Anthony, George, and Chad, I am Pete. Have a good one, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right.
Merry Christmas.
Shalom.